Hello and good afternoon. I sat down to do a little bit of just random Bible study, and I had the idea to go back on timeanddate.com and look to see how many days there are until Nissan 10 of 2025. So I did a video about this a few days ago when we had 186 days, and that took us to a verse that was actually super cool. And so I did a little video about that. Today's message is slightly different, and I'm going to come at this from a personal perspective to illustrate how the power of faith has been so important in my life. So let's actually share this. I want to make sure it shares on the screen. But as soon as I saw this, I'm like, have to go live and talk about this. Just want to make sure. Want to make sure it's showing. Want to make sure it's not. So let's stop sharing and let's try again. Sometimes it takes a second for this share feature to work. I think YouTube doesn't like videos lately anyway. There we go. All right. So I have time and date up on my screen. And this is where, for those, hi Daniel, hi Owl. Nice to see both of you. So this is where I just pulled the date from. Today is 6 months. 6 months prior to Nissan 10 of 2025. And for those of you who have followed my research or any amount of time or looked at my books or my charts or anything, you know that Nissan 10 2025 is more than likely the start of the 70th week based on the Daniel and Ezekiel's prophecy, Daniel 70 weeks prophecy. If you don't know that and you are like, how did you get there? There's a whole bunch of videos on my channel that you can watch to get there. That is not the point of this. That research to get to that number is not the point of this video, but that is the end goal. And so that is 182 days from today. So what at is, okay, if that is 182 days from today, what does, according to the lexicon, what is G182? I want to know what message could potentially be in that number of days for me to look at. So, and this is just my own personal study. This has no bearing on anything. I would never and have never told anyone, look at the biblical numbers and try to make sense of them. People get into numerology and gematria and all these other things that are definitely not Bible based. So there's not any underlying message or numerology at play here. It's literally just, we have 182 days before that date based on what today is. And I'm like, okay, well, G182, if you go to the lexicon, relates to a specific Greek word. And in this case, not funny. That was the first word that came to mind. But like in the previous video, the word that I was looking at for G186 appeared only one time in the New Testament. And this one does as well. I don't know. I don't know what that word is. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It means unstable, inconstant, restless. And the verse that it is used in one time in the Bible is James 1:8. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Now, this to me is just really fascinating because I have been talking through the book of Hebrews in the last few chapters specifically about the importance of faith. I mean, faith is the foundation of every single thing that we have to look forward to in this life. The importance of faith cannot ever be overemphasized. And I understand that there are a lot of people who talk about works and obedience and all that stuff, but you are where you are and have what you have to look forward to by your faith and your faith alone. That is the foundation of every single thing that you have been promised by God through Christ. It is the reason that you'll receive any rewards in the future. It's the reason you're going to be ruling and reigning alongside Christ in the kingdom. It's the reason you're going to be in the kingdom at all. Every single thing is faith and faith alone, faith-based. And I will just share a very personal story to me, understanding that this isn't going to have meaning to you guys, nor should it. Everyone has their own reasons for doing what they do, their own experiences that lead them and guide them. They have their own, when you look at this verse, you might think something entirely different than what I think. And it's your personal experiences and your personal perspective that shape your outlook and give you meaning or reason to live your life in certain ways and guide you in certain ways. When I started my journey through Bible study, and I'm just going to leave this on my screen, this verse. But when I started my journey through Bible study, it was because my father had just passed away. My dad had just passed away. I use his Bible in case anyone wonders this. When he had cancer, he had synovial sarcoma. And from the first instance, the first surgery that he had to remove it, and all the subsequent treatment, we knew that there was going to be an end point, and it was going to be in the relative near future to that point. We just didn't know how long and where it would come that couldn't be treated, but we knew, and he knew, and he actually prepared his own funeral, as sad as that is. But he did, because he didn't want to be a burden to everyone else. But it gave us that time to talk and to spend time together and to say what needed to be said and do what needed to be done, and afforded my son and him the opportunity to grow closer than they probably would have otherwise, to spend those meaningful last years. And through one of our conversations, he said, because he didn't want to die. He knew he was going to, he was preparing for that eventuality, but he didn't want to die. And he said, I wish I knew when the rapture was going to happen. And that was the pivot point for me. That was 100% the moment that changed the whole course of my life after that. Because I sat there, having been raised in having been raised in Christian school. I never went to a public school until college. Having been raised in Sunday school, going to vacation Bible schools, having gone to Bible camps, all of that. Was raised in church, had that foundation, and just took it for granted. Said, oh, because I know the story of Moses and the story of Noah and the story of David and Goliath, and I'm really good at sword drills, and I can memorize the books of the Bible and say them all within 20 seconds. And, it's just stupid things like that really don't matter, but I just gave so much weight to. And having been raised in church, just a fellowship Bible church, it was the name of it. It was just a non-denominational Christian church. They taught pre-trib. They taught premillennialism. They taught these things. And so I just understood that because someone told me that, then they knew what they were talking about, because, the pastor of the church, he's got to be smart, right? And so I just believed that. So I had these things in mind that I just accepted based on absolutely nothing, no study of my own. And the things that I was able to do in the Bible amount to nothing meaningful. So my dad's having this infinitely deep conversation, because he's looking at an endpoint, and he's facing his own mortality, and he didn't want to die. And he said, I wish I knew when the rapture was going to happen. And I sat there and I thought, gosh, yeah, I wish I do too. I wish I did too. I had nothing to offer. I had absolutely nothing to offer. For all of the good that being raised in church and going to a Christian school did me, I had nothing to offer the man. And I said, okay, well, that's going to change. Literally, after we buried my father, I dove heavily into, and that was August 1st of 2012. So for the last 12 years, I have invested I have invested tens of thousands of hours of my life into finding answers, because I couldn't give my dad anything. Clearly that bothered me. It wouldn't have made a difference. It would not have made a difference. But I sat there and I felt so helpless. And so now I can give people answers. Sorry. That's why I barely talk about this, because I'm like, oh gosh, man. So anyway, now I can give people answers. I couldn't give my dad anything, but now I can give you guys that. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that he was going to allow me to know. There has been no point in my life past that where I haven't known with full confidence and surety that I was going to be able to know whatever I wanted to know. I was going to be able to know. So this brings us to James. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. People ask me, how can you know? What if? No, there's no what ifs. And I can't convey to you the surety with which I know what I know, because you didn't live the backstory. You don't know where I came to this point, why I came to this point, and you just, it's an experiential thing that I will never be able to fully tell anyone, and even if I could, I would never expect you to know, because this is one of the things where you have to be me, you have to know what I know, you had to be where I was, and you had to have that one-on-one with God to know. And no one, I'm never going to be able to convey that. And it's not a thus saith the Lord, and it's not anything like that. It's just, I know what I know because I know he allowed me to know, because I sat there 1,000% helpless to give my dad anything. And I said, okay, that changes today. And 12 years later, I know what I know because of that. And I share what I share because of that. Because I knew with full assurance of faith that was a defining point in my life. I knew he was going to show me. He was going to tell me. He was going to leave nothing on the table that I wasn't going to be able to share, because he knew that it was going to take that one person in that one place in that one moment for me to not have an answer, to know that is unacceptable. And it was never going to happen again. And thus, it has never happened again. All because of knowing and being entirely faithful in this one area that he was going to show me, and he did. And so now I couldn't help my dad, but I can help you guys. And that is why, entirely why, I do what I do. Ah, gosh, sorry. Sorry. Hi, Roxanne. Hi, Mrs. Mom. Hi, Rick. Hi, Megan. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Lucifer. Rick, I have no idea what you're talking about. Thank you, guys. I'm like, I don't talk about this much because, yes, Mrs. Mom said, we are confident, I say, and willing rather to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. Well, he is definitely in a much better place now than he was back then. Sorry, Owl. Sorry. That's where my story comes from. Every single person has a story that led them to where they are. My story is that I sat in my dad's living room watching him battle cancer so bravely and not wanting to die and wanting answers and feeling absolutely helpless and frankly stupid that I couldn't help, couldn't give him anything, like literally could not give him anything. And I said, today that changes. The very day after we buried my father started my journey. And I have never looked back, and I have never been more willing to invest time in anything that I will be willing to invest time in this. And the reason I do this is literally so that no one who has a question about anything like that will ever be able to come to me and I will ever have to say, I don't know. Literally, that is the reason. I will never be presented with another situation in my whole entire life where someone comes to me wanting to know as something pivotal as their eternal life and when things are going to happen. And I will have to say, I don't know. It's never going to happen again. Hi, SSGT. Bill Kamer. I try to honor my dad. And yes, this, like I said, this is his Bible. When he was preparing for the eventuality, he basically told us, go through my stuff and take what you want. I took his golf clubs, which was dumb because I don't ever golf. I've never golfed a day in my life. And I took his Bible. That's the Bible I use. Hi, Warren Bugs. Nice to see you. Lucifer says, after my dad died is when Christ appeared to me in a vision. I didn't believe before then. I thought my dad was a fool for believing like he did. Joke was on me. And boy, I'm glad for that. There you go. God, like I said, he reaches us all in different ways. And it's not like the meaning that you understand from something is never going to be the meaning that someone else is going to understand because it's experiential. Salvation is not experiential, but the ways in which he reaches people to know what they know and to be firm in that knowledge is all, it's all going to be different. And that was the way that he got to me, was putting me in a situation where I felt powerless and knowing from that point forward, I was never going to be powerless to give someone answers again. And so immediately, like literally tens of thousands of hours. That's why I pour all of this time and effort into writing and documenting, doing videos and preserving everything, because I'll forget it. There's no way that my mind can hold on to everything that I study in that moment. So I write it down, I document it so that I don't lose it. Because just, yeah, that was the defining moment for me. August 1st, 2012 was the last moment where I had no answers. From that point forward, that is all I have done is sought them. And again, I wouldn't expect anyone to just say, oh, well, gosh, she's got that testimony, so I must believe her because it must be true. No, do your own research, do your own due diligence. Never, ever take anyone's word for it. But that is what led me to my point and why people say, well, you just want to be right. No, I don't. I don't ever want to be in a position where I give someone a wrong answer or give someone no answer. I will not only not have to tell you I don't know, I will tell you what the answer is. You don't have to believe it or accept it or whatever. But I know based on my starting point and what my ending point from there was always going to be. And that is, I'm going to arrive at the right information and I'm going to do it in a judicious and wise way. And I'm going to be able to explain every single reason why. And I'm going to be able to deter every wrong thing. Again, you don't have to agree with me. You don't, it's fine. People can have whatever opinions they want about whatever they want. But I know within myself to know how I am and who I am, that was what I needed to jumpstart what I was going to do. And hopefully to be able to put other people who aren't my dad in a better position than when I left them, because I wasn't able to do that for him. And so, like I said, everybody has a different experience, a different kickstart, whatever. But I just thought that was meaningful to me today to share. We have presumably 182 days left. And the verse there is that relates to the G182 as a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. That means if you're going to ask for anything, do it in full assurance of faith that if you ask it, he will provide it. And that is what I did. And thus, this is where I am. And it is such a good place to be. I don't have my dad. He's up in heaven. He's a lot better off than he was down here. And for that, I'm happy. But I do know that one day we shall be reunited. And if I were to remember what I did here, I know he'd be so proud. I know he'd be so proud. So anyway, yeah, I've never wanted to be right. I've just wanted the truth. 100%. That is exactly where I come at it. Exactly. Could not have said it better myself. It's not about being right. It's about getting it right, because the it that we get right is the testimony of Jesus Christ. And we want to understand him in the best and true ways as possible. It's got nothing to do with me and everything to do with him, and learning about him and his intentions and his plans toward us. That is the goal. And of course, I want to get that right. Of course. Anyone who doesn't want to get that right is strange to me. But I am going to leave you guys with that. Sorry, I didn't mean to turn the waterworks on, but I just wanted to share that. Be faithful. If you're going to ask anything of God, be faithful, full assurance of faith that he will deliver, that he can deliver, that he wants to deliver, that he will deliver. Maybe not on your timeline, maybe on his, but every good gift. No. All things work together for good to them who love God and to those who are called according to his purpose. We are all called according to his purpose. So everything that he has designed for our lives will be fruitful. We just maybe have to be patient for it. Maybe we have to work really hard for it, but it will be accomplished, because his word will not return unto him void. It will prosper in the thing whereunto he has sent it. That is absolutely true. My dad was a golfer. He was. Yes. All right. Well, you guys have a terrific day. And I will see you later. Bye, everybody.